Welcome to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast, where we bring you the stories of the people, innovations, and inspirations that are moving dairy forward. I'm your host, Peggy Coffeen, and today we have a story that is deeply personal, deeply impactful, and deeply rooted in family, legacy, and education. The McCarty family has built a name in the dairy industry, not only for their commitment to excellence, but also for their dedication to continuous learning and improvement. Today, we are sharing the story of the Judy McCarty Learning Center, a tribute to a woman whose influence shaped a family and a dairy legacy. Throughout this episode, you'll hear from Ken, Clay, Mike, and Tom McCarty as they reflect on what this center means to them, their family, and the future of dairy. And there's a special edition that's tucked into this episode. It is the voice of Judy McCarty herself, all thanks to the team at Where Food Comes From, who produced a piece on the family back in January of 2020. We'll also take a look at the history of McCarty Family Farms and how Judy McCarty's background in agriculture played a role in shaping this enduring legacy. So let's dive into this story of legacy, learning, and leadership.
I did student teaching in the town that Tom was teaching. I don't know, we didn't know each other, 6-7 months? Like I tell people, my life has not been boring at all in all these years. Do you think?
None.
None.
This episode is brought to you by DeLaval. As a company built on innovation, DeLaval is committed to finding ways to help dairy farmers do more with less by providing world-leading milking equipment and solutions. The McCarty name is well known in the dairy industry, but their journey started with humble beginnings. The McCarty Family Farm story began in Pennsylvania, where the family first built their roots in dairy farming. However, in the early 2000s, they made a bold decision to move their entire operation to Kansas, seeking new opportunities and the ability to grow their business. As Judy herself explains, the move wasn't ideal for the whole family, but through that move, she went above and beyond to make sure her son's well-being came first.
I guess I'm most proud of what our boys have done. And Ken, when we moved out here in '99, he was a senior in high school. And we were not going to prevent him from having his senior year back there. So I stayed back there and they moved out here. And then in February or Christmas time, I moved out because we were going to start the dairy and I had to do things out here. And he lived with friends of ours.
Their farm in Kansas has since become an industry leader in sustainable dairy farming, focused on responsible environmental practices, cow care, and progressive business strategies. As Ken McCarty shares, farmers are the true sustainability experts.
We depend on the earth. We depend on our cows. We depend on high quality water, high quality soils, high quality communities. So we are the original sustainability experts. And we hope to tell that story, and we hope to be very good representatives of the industry.
This commitment to innovation and sustainability is a testament to the values that Judy McCarty instilled in her family, values that continue to drive them forward today. As Judy and Tom explained, each of their sons plays a vital role in the overall business, and each has their own special talents that drive success.
The boys are very good at doing the innovative things and looking at technology, and sometimes it amazes us because we're older, but what they think of and down the road, their minds are down the road. They each have their own area of expertise or what they're interested in. David, he now sits in the office all day and does business. Clay's always been the cow guy, always loved cows. Ken, he's into more of the environmental cow care, employee care.
Yeah, sustainability.
Yes, he's more interested in that. So they're all here, but they all have a different role.
Mike is the oldest. He's runs a Bird City dairy. He's extremely
Precise. You know, they've made the growth possible, and we gave them the opportunity to get out here.
Judy McCarty was more than a mother and wife. She was a driving force in instilling a love for learning and a belief in always striving for better. Judy understood the importance of education in farming. Her belief in continuous improvement and knowledge sharing laid the groundwork for what would become the Judy McCarty Learning Center. Even prior to the Learning Center being built, Judy knew the importance of opening their dairy to the public and of being transparent in everything that they do. She not only was very wise when it came to transparency, but the importance of cow care as well.
We give a lot of tours out here. Since day one, since we were the first dairy in the county, we said we'd be open. We're not hiding anything. And you have to stress, they see a big dairy and right away they go to factory farm. We're not a factory farm. Yes, we have a lot of cows, but like I've said before, we know our cows. And it's important when you're dealing with the public for them to come out and see that cows are treated calmly. At our dairy, if you hit a cow, if you're seen hitting the cow, you're fired instantly. There's no come back the next day. You're done.
So, what is the Judy McCarty Learning Center? Well, it's more than just a building. It's a space dedicated to knowledge sharing, leadership development, and strengthening the future of dairy. After speaking with two of her sons, Ken and Clay, you know that this center has a very special place, not only in their hearts, but in the hearts of many.
Many years ago, at our farm in Ohio, we created the Dairy Learning Center to be able to tell our story, the story of our farms, the story of the dairy industry, the story of basically our dairy products from soil to cup. And that was the real driving force behind that, was to tell our story and to tell the story of the industry and be as transparent as we possibly can be to our local communities.
So, when I saw what we created in Ohio, and it tells a fabulous story.
As we began to look at this project and this expansion, our mom said, "Hey, I want that here." And yeah. Anyway, I get emotional talking about my mom. Sorry. We lost our mom a couple years ago. And we felt it would be a great way to honor her and remember her and ultimately share her passion for our farm, for our cows, for the dairy industry by opening a learning center here.
Looking at how people have reacted to this, I'm extremely glad that we did it. I'm proud of it. I know my mom would be very proud. It depicts our business and our family and the dairy community very well. I think it gives us an opportunity. Hey, when people come here, engage them, right? Be proud of what you're doing. Understand what their questions are and why they're asking. Because, hey, whether we like it or not, people will always challenge agriculture at some level, right?
The McCarty family knew that in order to move their business and the entire industry forward, they needed to invest in people, just as Judy did throughout her life.
We'll continue to grow, there's no question.
I want a dairy like Ohio out here.
There will be.
That is just, if you have an opportunity to go there, it's just an incredible dairy. Happy, happy cows.
I know if my mom was here today, she'd probably spend way too much time over here being mom. We're very fortunate. We have some tremendous people that do a really good job of giving mom's message out for us. Because obviously I cry every time I talk about it.
It's been, in our view, a great addition to not only our farms, but we hope a great addition to our community.
As Ken stated, This center is not only impacting the family and the employees here at McCarty Family Farms, but it's an inspiration to the community here and beyond. When we think about dairy farming, we often focus on the tangible, the cows, the milk, the land, but just as important are the people. The Judy McCarty Learning Center is designed to bring people together to exchange ideas, develop skills, and ensure that future generations continue to build upon the foundation that Judy and the McCarty family have laid.
Really about telling the story of our family, the history of our family, telling the story about the dairy industry, the impact that it has on the state, the community, on the world, and to share basically what we do here, why we do it, how we do it, and who we do it with. And our hope is to be able to tell the story of why American dairy products and why the dairy industry is a good thing for the world. We have a responsibility to be accountable to our communities, a responsibility to be accountable to our cows, to our customer, to our team members, but we also have a responsibility to be accountable to the dairy industry, both the U.S. dairy industry and the global dairy industry. And through the Dairy Learning Center in Ohio and the Judy McCarty Dairy Learning Center here in Rexford, we've been really fortunate to be able to host a really wide array of industry professionals from around the world.
Beyond its focus on leadership and education, the center also stands as a symbol of the love and partnership that Judy and Tom McCarty shared. Thanks to the team at Where Food Comes From, we're fortunate enough to hear firsthand from Judy herself about how this family came together, and it's not how you would picture the typical fairy tale love story beginning.
I went to college in Pennsylvania, and I did student teaching in the town that Tom was teaching. Went on a date with one of his friends who I knew there'd never be a second date, but anyhow, he said, "Oh, I've got somebody you have to meet," and it was Tom. So, I don't know, we didn't know each other, 6, 7 months? Because I went home one day and said, "Mom, guess who's getting engaged?" "Who?" I said, "Me." She said, "To who?" Because she hadn't even met him. So, and we've been married 51 years, so I guess it worked out.
She liked the farm end of things, even though she grew up with no experience, no background. She liked it. And she wasn't money hungry, which was good, because I didn't have any.
Hearing from these two voices, you can't help but hear the love that these two had for each other, and it's amazing to see how it has grown into what McCarty Family Farms is today.
At one summer, he said, "I just don't want to go back teaching." He'd see tractors going by in the spring, and so the plan was he was going to quit dairy with his dad. We'd live off my salary.
Well, we built a new facility.
Right.
Our first 80 cow deal.
Then I got pregnant, and that didn't work. I didn't go back teaching. So
we went from, 2 incomes to 0.
But that's all right. And the first house, the second house we lived in, you could tell we were newly married because we thought it was great. My mother called it a hovel.
Squatter shack, I believe.
And it was horrible. But it was where we built the dairy, and we saw visions of what it would look like.
Her influence was pivotal, and that's why the McCarty family felt it was important to dedicate this space in her honor.
We were fortunate enough to be able to name it after her, hence the Judy McCarty Dairy Learning Center.
Education has always been at the core of progress, whether it's learning about new technologies, understanding the intricacies of animal care, or refining business strategies. Continuous improvement is the key to long-term success. The McCarty family understands this better than most, and that's why they have made this commitment to education. As Tom and his sons explain, the agriculture industry is unfortunately a very, very small percentage of the workforce, but they're responsible for feeding the population.
We have a rapidly declining number of people that understand where food comes from, rapidly. And that thing will help to educate people. And it's a big group that have no clue.
I think my mom she was always giving tours, all the things. She was a teacher by trade. Her real passion was this.
We're in an industry where I don't know how many people are going into ag anymore, right?
Hey, we all know that fewer and fewer people every day are involved in agriculture. And fewer people every day truly have a connection with where their food comes from.
Sons Mike and Clay mentioned not only how there are less people in the industry, but it's also becoming more difficult to be a farmer and sustain a livelihood doing so.
It's harder to come into ag, and population's growing. People are going to need food, they're going to need to eat. So we're in the right business. Now there's a lot of stuff to navigate, but we can do it.
And I think that drives a deeper responsibility to those of us within the industry, in particular those of us that can, to take on that responsibility and to take on that ask of helping connect people with where their food comes from, because that matters. And what we do as a dairy industry is something that we should take pride in and not be afraid to talk about.
Visitors not only have a hands-on experience at the Learning Center, but they are able to see the most modern dairy farming practices for themselves from the observation deck that overlooks the DeLaval Rotary Parlor. Courtney Claypool from DeLaval tells us more.
I've assisted many large farms in transition to new rotaries, and I gotta say, my hat goes off to the McCarty's teams. They just dug really deep. They embraced both the expected and the unexpected challenges. People don't always realize that it can take up to a year to fully transition to a new rotary. And that's normal. It's totally okay. And the journey looks different for all farms. The DeLaval technology that's being implemented at the McCarty's Rexford facility is 220 stall E500 rotaries equipped with teat spray robots, body condition score cameras, a post-milking sort area, flow responsive milking technology, and the biggest behavior analysis system that DeLaval has out there to boot. I mean, just chef's kiss, slam dunk, home run, amazing. I'm really just proud, right? Like, I'm proud to work for DeLaval and that we have such cutting edge technology and that the cows are so relaxed and they honestly enjoy the ride. Personally, I've always loved watching the cows go in circles, but for somebody who has no idea about dairy farming to be like, yeah, the cows look happy, that's where it's at for me. Because at the end of the day, everything we do is to, better welfare for cows and make our customers successful. What McCarty stands for is just energizing, right? Like what they put out to the community, their own community, the dairy community, and just the ag industry in general is energizing.
It's clear that the McCarty family isn't just focused on today. They're investing in the future. The Judy McCarty Learning Center will serve as a place where the next generation of dairy leaders can grow, learn, and carry forward the values that have made this family such an integral part of the dairy industry. Mike explains, one of the core reasons they're doing what they do is to carve a path for the future.
I like to think that's why we're doing this, right? Is for the future. Hopefully it's a future of 50 years or 100 more years, but we're going to find out, I guess.
As I was preparing for this episode, I came across a few articles that further highlighted just how impactful Judy McCarty was, not only within her family, but within the broader agricultural community. Her passion for mentorship, her belief in the power of shared knowledge, and her unwavering commitment to family farming are all reflected in the Learning Center that now bears her name.
We've always tried to take an approach of transparency to what we do on our farms.
At its heart, this isn't just a story about a learning center. It's a story about family, about honoring the past while shaping the future, and about the power of education in an ever-evolving industry. And that future is bright as the mural that greets visitors as they come to the Learning Center. Tucked into this colorful hand-painted concrete wall are representations of Judy, this family, and their story. Before we wrapped up our interviews with this family, I had to ask each of the boys about the mural.
it's basically the trip from PA to Kansas, right? It's the Red Bank barn 100 years ago to what we are now. The various zip codes or the ear tags, just to where the businesses are, where we've been, that sort of thing, and then just the different pieces of what we do.
4 boys and just 4 cows.
4 cows.
They represent.
Apparently 4 brothers.
So which cow are you in the picture?
I don't.
Of course, the one cow, everyone had to pick the cow, and it's like.
I've heard you're not the one that's licking the other one.
No, there's plenty of jokes made.
Off record, I can tell you more of that.
But then that next generation piece,
Mm-hmm.
they're represented in that mural too, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
The red barn on the hill was really, truly where my great-grandfather started. So, yeah, I was a little surprised because we didn't really know what all was in it. And, yeah, there's a nice call-out to my mom and dad in there.
And while we may never know exactly which cow represents each of the sons, this mural tells a unique story of a family who has dedicated their lives to the dairy industry, transparency, education, and sustaining a future for generations to come. To the McCarty family, thank you for sharing this incredible story with us. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us here for this special episode of the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. And of course, thank you to our sponsoring partner, DeLaval. If you enjoyed this conversation today, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with others in the dairy community. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep upleveling your dairy.
I guess I'm most proud of what our boys have done, what we do for the community. Just that we've gotten where we are. Never believed that would happen. But the boys too, they've carried it on. So
this episode is brought to you by DeLaval. As a company built on innovation, DeLaval is committed to finding ways to help dairy farmers do more with less by providing world-leading milking equipment and solutions.
Like I tell people, my life has not been boring at all in all these years. Do you think?
None.
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 No.